Welcome, Trevor, and thank you so much for joining us today on the East Coast Fashion Summit. I'm so grateful that you could be here with us. I know the viewers are going to be getting a lot of value out of everything you say to them today. So thank you and welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, Cindy, for having me. I'm very happy and um, honored to be here.
Yes, thanks, buddy. Let's just start by maybe telling the people that are watching a little bit about yourself, a little bit about where you're from, how long you've been in the fashion industry, and how you chose fashion as your career path.
So my name's Trevor Silver. I'm from North Preston, Nova Scotia. It's the largest Indigenous Black community in Canada. Um, so I have background in so many different things. So I studied business, studied history. My initial dream was to become a lawyer. So before fashion, I wanted to pursue that. And on that journey, once I got there, I kind of realized it wasn't for me. So I kind of switched gears. Lisa Drader Murphy,
Yeah.
she came to one of my classes in my undergrad. It was an elective, so it was a creative course, and she told us about her journey, and that kind of inspired me. Once it was my turn to switch, that inspired me to be like, I could probably do something like this, and that's kind of what transitioned me into fashion. And then yeah, the rest is kind of history. But I just yeah yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't know that about you. And Lisa's actually on the summit as well. So that's
Oh
pretty.
wow,
Now you've come full circle. You're on
full
the
circle. Yeah, that's so dope. Wow.
cool. I didn't even know that. So aside from your fashion design and your entrepreneurship, what other tasks and responsibilities do you have on your plate? I know you do school. I know you do a
Yeah.
lot of volunteering. I know you are big in the community. So tell us about some of that.
So right now I'm still finishing up my business degree. So I did some history, some business, then I went to law, then it wasn't for me. So I went back for business. And while I'm building my business, I don't want my student loans to go in repayment. So I just kind of trying to finish up my degree. And like, so with that, uh, just trying to finish my management degree, trying to be a better boss, be a better leader. So when I do attract the team for, well, I do have a few like my cousins and stuff that help me with the tREv clothing, but once we're able to like continue to build it up, I want to be able to be like a great manager for them. So I feel like the management degree is my best bet. And well, what else were you asking? Sorry.
Just maybe some of your volunteer work.
Oh, so I don't not necessarily volunteer, but I do school visits. So like anytime an opportunity comes, I'll go and present at a school, tell them about my journey, and inspire the kids, give them some real inspiration to be like, if like sort of like what Lisa did for me is like, if I can do it, you can do it. And that's one of the things that for me, the one of the reasons why I wanted to become a lawyer was because there's no male black lawyers from where I'm from, and I kind of wanted to look back, or I wanted to be, once I grew up, I wanted to be the person that I didn't have when I was younger, to be like, hey, look, we can do this stuff too. And then to resolve that was I have friends that were black that were in law school now that graduated, and they are who I wanted to be. So now I don't have to necessarily be that, and I can pursue what it is I want to pursue. But that was one of the main like drivers for me, was to try to inspire, and that's kind of what I do now as an entrepreneur. I feel like I'm able to make a bigger impact through fashion, through business, through the principles that I promote with the brand. So I feel like I don't want to wake up and do a job that I don't love. So with this, it's something that I can get excited about. Sometimes like I don't sleep because I'm working and I want to make it perfect. So those are some of the things that for me, passion is something that like I thought I would be passionate about law and like the idea of it. But once I actually got there, it was even hard for me to pull the plug because I'm just like, man, I worked so hard for this. Like I got here, but that was one of the things that like even deep down, like I didn't even feel like I could actually be a lawyer. So
Yeah.
like once I got there and I realized I could do it, I was just like, maybe I don't really want to do this. I just kind of, it's so many different things that I could, how I could explain it, but those are like what I usually come back to is that I wanted to aim super high, and then on that journey, once I actually realized I could do it, it wasn't for me, and then I switched lanes. But the confidence and the education and the people that I met along that journey, just even going to university, like if I didn't want to become a lawyer, I wouldn't even have went to university, so I wouldn't even be where I'm at today. So when I think about that, it kind of blows my mind, like, because no one in my family went to university or anything like that. So it's kind of uh, a thing that I had to do. Like if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't be where I am today. And I want to be able to give back and make a difference.
Yeah, it's amazing how all of those things sort of line up to put you exactly where you need to be.
Yeah, and that's like I'm a believer in God and stuff like that. So I feel like everything happens for a reason. So like everything lines up. And right when I was going into my second year of law, my grandfather passed away. And the questions that I was asking myself was like, hey granddaddy, should I pursue the fashion? Because at this time I had the idea and I had the I was like showing my friends and stuff like, hey, would you guys buy this? But like your friends always say they'll buy what you're making, but it had to be more than that. Yeah. So then once the like that same month, I got my first samples and stuff like that, and like I was like, okay, well, I'll just take a medical leave from school. I'll decide if I want to go back, and I ended up not like I ended up deciding, okay, I'll go back, but I'll go back for business. And like in the long term, like say things don't work out or something happens, like law school is like a for sure thing. Like I can go back, I can do it. It's just a matter of doing the work, and it's a for sure thing. I'll be able to be financially free. I'll be able to help my community, and that's one of the things that I when like before law school, I wrote on a sticky note. I have it over here somewhere. It's like what product or service can I provide that can allow me to be financially free and provide value for people? And then like like looking looking back is like, wow, like I was able to develop a product that is potentially in the future can make me financially free, but now it's adding value by reminding people of their principles, creating fashion, giving people the style that they want, or like the confidence or their look, you know. And it is that's one of the things that I really love about fashion is when you meet and you connect with your clients that love your stuff and they're like die hard for it, and it's like, wow, like I created something that people want, and it's like creating something of nothing, but you created it through your whole like lived experience, all the things that you learn. And I find that's one of the things for anyone listening about fashion is it's always changing, it's always growing, and we're always changing, and we always have to take it upon ourselves to continue to grow. Because if we stop growing or we stop creating, then it just dies off. Or whenever we feel like, oh, I've done enough, like my customers will keep buying what I have, but as we have to evolve with the world, with the customer. So I find that's one of the things. Even though I want to provide what I want to provide, I also listen to my customer and provide them what they need too. So like that's one of the things that.
That's really good advice. I hope everyone's listening, but because if you don't listen to your customers and you stop giving that value, they're out. And
Yeah, 100%.
one big thing, and your stuff is gorgeous. I love everything you make. But on top
Thank you.
of your message is what keeps people loyal, keeps them coming back, and keeps them pushing you so hard forward.
Yeah,
Would
and
you,
I find that. Go ahead.
sorry, I was going to say, do you mind explaining to people what tREv stands for? It's not just your name.
Yeah, so
Explain to them what.
I'll give you like the full background. So before law school, I had let me see if I can find it. So where is one moment, one
Yeah,
second.
yeah, no problem.
So I had this. This was the logo that I designed up. So it was basically a personal logo for my name, like Trev.
Yeah,
So this was before law school. This was before like I think it was like 2014, 2015. And I
right.
just wanted to have something for like my personal tag, I guess. And then once I got to law school, um, that summer I came, or when I was in class, I was sketching and I came up with the balance scale design. So it was the scales of justice. So work, money, career, family, love, friendship. So one side had the heart, one side had the dollar sign, and I ended up evolving that into the balanced success design. So it was the first design, but it wasn't a logo. So I was like, well, I have this design and I think people will be into it because it's universal, like everybody can relate to balance and success. And then I was like, okay, well, I have this logo. So then with the T, the R, the E, and the V, I was like, okay, well, what do I represent? What do I stand for? What do I strive to represent? And then I was in the dictionary, I found 2 words for each letter. So I ended up choosing trust, respect, education, and value. So like you have to trust yourself, you have to respect yourself, you have to educate yourself and value yourself and others to succeed. So for me, these things are important because like for one, trust would tie in with like the belief in yourself, believing that you can do stuff. Respect would be like universal respect, respecting everybody. Education, I didn't really find the value in education until after high school when I started reading, educating myself, self-help, self-development, university. So education became very important for me just on my journey, and then the value. So the value at the bottom would be providing value, providing quality product, even providing like quality advice. If someone was to ask you something, if you know better, you can inform them better. And I find for me, like a lot of mentors that I would go to and they would give me like wicked advice. Like so you want to go to like the experts in the field. So I used to drive in my undergrad, I drove taxi cab and I ended up evolving into a limo business. But the reason how I was able to do that was because I knocked on the guy that lives up the street. He has a limo business. And I was like, hey, can you hire me? He's like, oh, you're not old enough to be on my insurance, but here's what you could do. You could start your own company. And I was like, oh, yeah, true. So then I went and got my taxi license, drove taxi for a bit. Then I transferred my clients to my limo business. And then during that, but if I didn't go knock on his door, talk to him about it, he wouldn't have given me all the advice on what I had to do to get there. But it's not on him to give me the advice. It's on me to ask the questions and find him. So it's like, so with that, I was able to get a lot of experience in entrepreneurship, which transferred over to. So I ended up selling my limo once I got to law school because my mind was like law school, end all to be all. I'll be able to be financially free. I'll be able to help the community. I'll be able to do all this stuff. And then I was like, wow, I like, even in retrospect, that's kind of one of the regrets, but it's I'm still trying to come to grips with it because I could still have a taxi cab. I could still have a limo if I didn't think law school was the end all to be all. But then I wouldn't have Trev Clothing. I wouldn't have probably started Trev Clothing. So it's all like the journey is it leads you in the right direction. So like there's a lot of things that I learned from starting that, one of my first businesses, that led to me being able to like understand and balance and know about like Trev and the thing when it comes to like income and balancing and all the different types of things that you need to know when it comes to business. Like most businesses are similar, but like some businesses have their own aspects. And I find customer service is one of the things that in every industry, like there's some things where you're never ever going to see people again, but it's like I feel like customer service is like one of the top things that you need to be good at. And I found that from being a taxi driver. Like you have great conversations with people, you meet people. Like I met so many people driving taxi, like big CEOs of companies, and like I would ask them questions like, oh, like what are your tips for success, and like just asking certain questions because I'm able to connect with them and I'm able to like make a consensus in my mind about what success is for me and like how other people are finding success for them. And like those are some of the questions that I just always try to have ready for when I see people that are like living their dreams or doing what they love. It's like, hey, can you tell me some advice or some points or stuff like that? Yeah, 100%.
Shy, which is really key, because if you're not shy to ask those questions, you'll get the answers.
Yeah, and the people want to see us succeed, and that's one of the things why I actually started driving taxi cab, because I was shy. I didn't really like to talk to people. I'm super comfortable with my friends and people that I know, but when it comes to getting out there in the world, that's one of the things at university I struggled with early on, was like, I don't belong here, like I'm the only Black person in my class, or you know what I mean, stuff like that. But once I realized like it's on me to get over that stuff, like statistics show like there's only 3% Blacks in Nova Scotia, so how many people could there possibly even be in your class? So it's on me to overcome those struggles, and that's one of the things that I found, like it's up to me. Like success is up to me 100%. And if there's something in my way, I just got to figure out the way around it.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it.
And now you'll be that face for people behind you that want to see someone that looks like them.
Yeah, 100%.
You're that lift up and you're that person you didn't have.
Yeah.
Which is like so cool, Trev.
And it's cool to like, for me to have that goal and then to be able to be that now and like do that in like the fashion industry or like just like any industry really is a blessing, and it gives you a good like any success in life, it gives you that push to continue to go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to let them down, right?
No, 100%. And that was one of the things that was the struggle for switching from law school, because it's like I set myself up. I told everybody I was going to be this and I was going to do this. And now it's like when I come to you guys, I got to tell you like, hey, I'm not doing that anymore. But now, like even when Trevor Clothing started, it was like people didn't see the vision. Like they're like, even my dad, he
Yeah.
didn't see the vision till like probably 6 months ago. And my brother, he probably didn't see it probably since like when COVID, like mid COVID. He honestly, this is a true story. He was like, he's like, bro, I'm proud of you. Like honestly. And then like he's like, the reason why I'm saying this now is because honestly, like I didn't think like this was anything.
He was
Like I didn't think. Yeah. And like that's the thing, when it's on us to see our vision and it's on us to sell our vision and it's on us to build our vision. So other people may not believe us, like even our best friend might not believe us, but it's on us to prove to ourselves. Like some of the most powerful motivations are to prove like people wrong, like to be like, hey bro, look, you know what I mean? And like that's one of the things that I can always say to my brother, like, you didn't believe me in the beginning, now look, you know.
yeah.
And those are things that like I'm proud of that. I'm happy that he's saying it, but it's like it's the thing, like I'm not doing it to prove to you. Like I know what I'm capable of. I know what I want to accomplish. And I always feel like I'm not doing enough in general. So like I'm super hard on myself, and like I like when people challenge me to be like, hey, you're not doing enough, or hey, you're not doing this, or hey, you should do this. And I find when it comes to like your friends or your people in your inner circle, if you can come back and if say for example like an expert in the field, or if they give me advice and I say no, or I get frustrated, or I don't take it, I have to be able to, if I feel like their advice is not, doesn't apply to me, I have to be able to explain, like this is one of the rules that I go by, is like if I feel like what they're saying doesn't apply to me, or I shouldn't go the road that they think I should be able to explain to them why and what road is appropriate for me. And that's one of the things, like it neutralizes any arguments I have with like friends or family, and it allows me to articulate my vision better and solidify it better, so that if like say someone's like, hey, you should open up a store, because like that's what everyone says right now, and like for me, like one of my examples, and it's like for me, I feel like no, I shouldn't open up a store. I should continue to learn social media marketing, learn my customer, hone my understanding, create cash flow, and make my business sustainable before I try to go and do something that could potentially bankrupt me. You
Yeah.
know?
A lot of overhead that you don't really need right now.
Yeah. And that's one of the things for me, is like it's simple, because you can see so many stores are closing now. So why would I open up a store, you know? And that's another thing that I want to touch on, is like a lot of people got something to say about what we're doing or what you're doing, and then but if they're not an expert in the field, if they don't have firsthand experience, like they can't necessarily tell us what we should or shouldn't do.
Right.
And it's kind of on us to like download, find the information, and learn what we need to learn so that we can take it to the next level. But it's not on us to like listen to people that don't know any better. So like that's one of the things that I say, is like, because there's been a few times where like I can only think of one time really, when I listened to someone else and it was something so little, it's just a color on a shirt outline, like a thin thing, and I was just like, and ever since, like, because I was like, what do you think, I should do this or this? And then they told me this, and I felt in my gut that I should do this. And then afterwards, like I never ever, I always was like, when I look at that design now, I always am like, I'm never not listening to my gut, because at least if I listen to my gut, I can like beat myself up about it later, but I can't be like, I shouldn't have listened to that person. But you still need I still need to ask opinions, and I find like there's certain experts or friends and family that I have that I go to and be like, hey, what do you think about this and stuff like that. And I like to bounce things off customers. I like to like, because it's not necessarily me building the company. I feel like it's all of us building the company.
Well, you're building
It's
for your customers too. So
yes,
like the value, you want them to get the value and you want to give that value. So you want that back and forth, you know?
100%. And I feel like that's as like a business owner or as anyone is it's we're building it for them, but we're building it for ourselves. So it's like we're working together to
Yeah.
build something. And I find like that's one of the things, like we're in this together. And that's why when it comes to like me being able to give advice to other people, um I'll give every advice that I know, because even if you're in the same industry or if we're perceived as competitors, it's like if I give you information and you use it and it does something good for you, then it just reaffirms that what I knew was right. And if it makes you like rise or like grow, I'm all for that, because I want to see you grow. I like friendly competition. I'd like to be able to, like, when I'm in the gym with my friend and they're working super hard, like I want to work super hard too. So like when we're in like fashion, streetwear, or whatever we're in, when you're doing good, I can look at you and be like, hey, I want to do better too. And then when I'm doing better, you look at me, and like it allows us to raise the bar for each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like that's one of the things that and I read somewhere about like competition, and it's like there's two different like ways to look at things, like competition or cooperation. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's like it basically broke it down. How did the guy explain it? It was like it allowed me to not look at things like competition. So now when I see other people doing maybe something similar to me, it's like they have different customers, they have different people that they have relationships with. So even if, I think the guy broke it down with like two twins. If there's two twins that start similar brands or similar companies, they're still gonna have two different friend circles, different. They're gonna have like a different like, you know, when you drop water in drop something in water and it got a ripple, it's like both of them have two different ripple effects. So it depends on like how much work they put in, how much they build up with the customer, how much, what product they have. Like, because even the two twins could be selling the same exact product, but there's something different that one of them is doing that allows them to maybe be perceived as more successful. But at the end of the day, it's on us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the core of it is you. So it's no one can replicate you.
Yeah,
And
100%.
too, there's room for everyone. Like there's room for us all to succeed. And I love that you just share all the information because I really do believe that that always comes back.
Yeah, yeah, same. I'm a firm believer too.
Me too. I'm all about it. So, but I was wondering, like with COVID, how did you get through? Did it change a lot of things for you? I know it did, but but did, and do you think that's kind of how things are going to stay? Like, is this our new reality?
So because we never really had a store, like we did pop-ups and we had like locations where we like did super like longer pop-ups, but it didn't like, when I try to analyze like what changed for me,
Yeah.
is not really much did change for me. Like I mean, outside looking in, some you like you may be able to see different things, but like I still was able to work. Like I took the time to like learn more, read more, study more. Like I got fashion books, I got videos on YouTube that I've been watching, and it's like I studied Alexander McQueen, super interested in him, and it was like these things that I was like, damn, like the world is on pause. Let me get caught up. Let me get ahead. You know what I mean? So that's kind of one of the things that like I was really grateful for, is that hey, like I can do what I've been doing and like learn more, grow more. But the the thing that switched for me during the COVID thing was like the social media marketing. And like that's one of the things that I always was trying to get into or trying to get better at. And like I'm still not super good at it, but I've been able to utilize it in a way that it works for me. And I'm always trying to learn still continuously. So that's one of the things I would say that I really like that changed for me,
Yeah.
and like the online sales.
Yeah.
Because before, most sales that we generate were from like social media, word of mouth, and also like building up the client base. But the online went crazy. So we had, and you know, like I had the mass because last year I went to China through like a SMU initiative. So I was in China while I was there, I was learning the culture, seeing the people. So many people had masks. So this is July 2019. So I'm like, man, like a tREv mask would be pretty cool. So while I'm there, like on the bus going to like different places in China, like I'm designing masks. So then I was like, when I get home, like I got to get a mask. But then I was feeling like maybe I'm culture appropriating. Like that's one of the things that I was like hesitant on getting the mask. But then I was like, well, I'm just gonna do it anyway. Atlantic Fashion Week, we released the masks, and then like they were selling good, and it was like a good thing because it was cold. People needed a mask for the coldness, but people were looking so weird. Like when I had my mask on down Spring Garden Road, they're like, "What's this black guy doing with a mask on?" Like you could just tell how they were looking. And then so it's crazy that fast forward to January, February, even like like November, December, January, February, I wasn't thinking like, oh, like I'm gonna sell a bunch of masks because I'm not thinking that COVID is even coming here. So then, as soon as COVID touched Nova Scotia, every mask I had sold like that hour. Within that hour of the COVID like touching, people were calling me. I'm just like,
Everyone's like,
well,
I gotta find that crazy man with the black.
yeah, yeah. And it's crazy because I feel like that's one of the reasons how I was able to continue to do good too, because you had the support black businesses, you
Yeah.
had the COVID, so you needed the mask. So then a lot of people like supported black business, they needed a mask anyway. And then it allowed me to generate a lot of sales. So the only sucky thing for me was my suppliers, they with the COVID, like everything shut down. So like it took like 60 days or 6 to 8 weeks to get the masks, like when I was restocking them. But like I did pre-sale, so then I still gained a lot of customers. But yeah, and it was a cool way to introduce people to my brand too with the mask, because some
Cool.
people never heard of my brand. Some people just wanted the mask. They don't even care about the brand. So it's like, oh, I just need a mask. So like for me, it's like, okay, I appreciate you. But then for me, I appreciate the people that are coming, that want to stay in the ecosystem, that want to continue to build with tREv. And that's one of the promises for me, is that why I like try to work hard or tell myself I'm working hard, even if I'm not. But the it's the promise. Like when a customer buys from us, like their promise is that we believe in you and we like your product. And for us, our promise back is we have to keep going. We have to keep building our company because you believe in us, and we have like that's like I feel like that's the promise thing that keeps me pushing, is like these like you believe in me and like you believe in my product, so I have to continue to produce and continue to make things for you so that like the promise is still there. Like I keep my promise to you. Like you're investing in me. Like when you buy a product, like you're investing in
Yeah.
like in us. Like when someone buys your product as a fashion designer, they're investing in you. So like they're letting you know like, hey, I believe in you. And that's one of the things that I take to the heart, is like if someone believes in what I'm doing or someone likes my product, it continues to give me the confidence and boost to create for more, like continue to create. Like
So
it's not gonna be
yeah.
like our products aren't gonna be for everybody, but they're gonna be for the people that want them. And I feel like that's the one thing that is so it makes me feel good to
Yeah.
be able to provide someone something that they want. And sometimes it's like a need, like I need to have that tREv item. And that's one of the things that if I can create something that someone needs besides toilet paper, then that's very like it's a good feeling for me, and probably for you as well.
Yeah, well, it's the best. It's such an honor. Like I always feel so honored that it pushes me to keep going for sure
Yeah, that's the word. It's the honor.
on every level. Yeah. How important was Atlantic Fashion Week to you as a new designer, and what kind
So
of
for
you get out of it?
me, Fashion Week was like very valuable, and I got a lot out of it. So for me, it's like a confidence booster. It's an experience booster. You get to be around peers, like I was saying earlier. Like you got the not necessarily a competition, but you see how other people are operating, and it can inspire you. That's one of the things. And then also it's like the affirming, like I'm a fashion designer. Like it let me know. Like when I applied, I was like, it's just like when I applied for law school. Like, hey, like, am I gonna get in? Like, you know? And then like, yeah. So then you get in, and then for me, I was able to like reach out to certain people that I already maybe built relationships with or seen around, and I reached out to like Dwayne Art Pays Me
Yeah.
and Peter from Beasley,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
they
yeah.
gave me like lots of advice. They were like, man, it's a no-brainer. Like you should do it. Like you got to do it. And then I was just like, I don't know. And then like when I did decide to do it, like even Peter helped me out with like some of the production stuff, and it it was it was really great experience. Even like for my community to see me doing that, I feel like that was one of the things that helped elevate the brand to like, hey, it's not just a brand for my community. It's more like it's bigger than that, you know?
Somewhere with this.
Yeah. So like that's one of the things like with my mom and my dad and them came, like my dad's like, oh, what is this brand thing? Like I was saying, like he didn't believe before, but then when he seen the models come out, like the way that Soli set up the models and did all the creative direction for the show, like it just made the brand like I don't even know how to. Yeah, so then my parents were able to see that and like, wow, like I'm just used to seeing you guys with the clothes on, but now like we're in Halifax Shopping Center, lights flashing and all this stuff, and photographers like it's like larger than life. So like I feel like they kind of got more of a like an understanding of where it could go
Yeah.
and like the importance of it. Pardon?
And so that made them put a little respect on it.
Yeah, put some respect on my name.
That's what I was thinking too. Because that's the stuff that's hard, especially with people that you really get it until they
Hmm.
see it on a bigger scale. Same thing with
Yeah,
my family. As soon as they seen it, they were like, oh, whoa, okay. They're all,
yeah, 100%.
once they see that production.
Yeah, definitely. And that's I find that's one of the things like it's kind of on us to sell them the idea,
Yeah.
and we can't really be like, oh, you didn't believe or whatever like that. But it's what is it? It's a thing that I always tell like young people that are like that may be upset with like people not supporting them or stuff like that. It's it's on us to sell our vision. If someone's not buying it, it's on us. Like we can't get upset because like, oh, no one's supporting me or no one's doing this. It's on us to sell them and to make them want to buy the product. And that's one of the things that I stress to people is that we have to market it, we have to sell it, we have to learn, we have to do so many different things. One thing we can't do is complain and be like no one's supporting us, because even if people were supporting us, we can't survive off of support. We got to survive off of people wanting our product and loving our product, and that's what's going to allow us to like continue to grow and flourish. If we're upset and like, oh, no one's supporting me, like if I feel like when I clicked in with that understanding and when I let other people know, they when you know better, you do better. So you can't even go and say to someone else like, oh, no one's supporting me. At the end of the day, like it's on you to market and to sell. It's not on someone to support you. Support can only take you so far. Like
Right.
like if your whole community bought from you one time for support, if you don't have a good product, they're not coming and buying again. Why would they keep giving you their money?
Right.
It's so that's one of the things that I stress to every creative or every person that has a business. If you have a product or service, you have to provide the value, and once the customer perceives that value and experiences and feels the value, then they're going to continue to buy or like support.
Right. And often the people in your closest circle are the last to come on board. So
Hmm.
do not be offended when your family and friends aren't all in, because first you got to show them something and then they'll come.
Yeah, and even like for example, like if you're selling someone a product that they don't want or they don't need, you're doing them a disservice, really.
Yeah.
Like why would they like? It's just gonna sit around. Like why take up space? Like you don't want to take up space in someone's closet if they're never gonna wear it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really benefit either or. Like I mean, it puts some money in your pocket. It lets them know you're believing in them. So support is good, but for me, one of the things that I said early on is like, I don't want you to just be like, oh, I'm just buying this to support you. I want you to buy it because you like it. And that's one of the things like with the support black business, there's a lot of people that actually like what I'm selling and they'll buy what they like. And I appreciate that. But it's like, don't just buy from me because I'm a black business and you want to support a black business. Like buy something that you like or buy something from a black business that you do like,
Yeah.
And like, that's one of the things for me is don't just buy it just because it's a black business. Like buy it because you want to like buy it because you're going to use the product and it's going to add value for you. Or this is one thing that I do support my friends or other people is if I know someone else will be able to get something out of it, I'll buy it for them. So I'm supporting you, but I know it's gonna support or add value to someone else. Like I'm never gonna wear lashes or I'm never gonna wear lipstick, but I can buy those products for people that I know that will.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. That's actually a great tip. If you don't want it for yourself, think of someone you want that would want it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like Christmas is and like gifts, birthdays, and all that stuff is always coming up. So it's good to do that. Like gift giving is in our culture, and it's a great thing because it allows us to continue to build relationships. It lets people know that they like it lets us know that like when I buy something for someone, they gotta know that I care about them. Like I'm not just gonna buy a random person that I don't know. You know what I mean?
Like here's a
Yeah, here's something that I don't know you and but
useless. Yeah. You put
yeah.
but you think of the
Yeah.
person and the gift, and yeah.
Yeah, and like even from my university experience, like I learned about like the gift giving culture from like this anthropology course I took, and it's just in the back of my mind, and like me understanding that, I feel like that's why education is powerful. That's why we promote education because, and it's not like I'm not out here promoting university and be like go to university get a degree. It's like learn, like read a book,
Patience.
like yeah, like educate yourself. Education to me is not university. Education is learning in general. So you can apply it and you can connect the dots.
Yeah, do your Googles, do your YouTube university, just
Yeah.
educate yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And like most of the like the successful people or like wealthy billionaire people that I follow, they're talking about like you don't need to go to university. Like I didn't go to university, and all the information that you're going to learn in university is online for free, or you can go to the bookstore and buy the books. Like I'm not bashing university because I see the value in university, and I'm in university.
Everyone. And
Hmm.
not everyone needs to do university, but some people that is the best route. So it just
Yeah,
who you are and what you're pointing toward,
100%. And I find that's one of the things for me is I like now that I've experienced like I now that I realize or I used to be like introvert and I made myself into an extrovert. Like I realized that I need the balance. I need to be with people. I need my solitude, and to find that balance is a great thing.
Yeah.
But like school, like you meet smart people, you're able to not necessarily you meet smart people everywhere, but school exposes you to people and conversations and group meetings that you wouldn't necessarily be if you just go to work every day. You know what I mean? You get to see your work coworkers, but school is always in a different class, always meeting new people. You're connecting with new people, and I find that's the value for me in university is like the meeting of the people.
All the different types of people and all of these. I don't know. I found it really electrifying how everyone was so different and brought all these different perspectives. So
Hmm.
that's why I loved university. Not for exactly the education, but more like everybody around you giving you all of these like awesome new perspectives that you never thought of.
Yeah, because you're like, damn, I never even thought about that. Or hey, like sometimes I'm in class thinking like, damn, am I slow? Because I never even thought about that. Or like these people are super smart. It gives you, like you said, different perspective and different understanding of like even how the world works. It's like, damn, I never thought about it like that.
So
And then when there's, go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, like you said, your sales were great, and you're still doing good over COVID. But I was wondering, how hard is it for you to like manage those online sales? What's some tips you can give to the people watching to help them kind of get through maybe getting a few more orders than they thought? Like
Hmm.
what kind of did you do when that started happening to you to manage and organize things?
So for me, I try to like be super proactive. So like sometimes I'll get an order like say for example right now if I wasn't doing anything and I got an order, I'll go send it out if I'm not doing anything, so it's out of the way. And then sometimes I'll let a few orders accumulate because it's just me now,
Yeah.
but like I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm always trying to understand like how do big businesses when they get like hundreds of orders, like because there's some businesses that do like drop shipping, or there's some businesses that do not drop shipping, the word I'm looking for is like they have like a warehouse where
Yeah.
they send all their stuff to, and then the people that work there just send it out as they get the orders.
Have
So
the ability to manage all the shipping. Yeah.
yeah, so for the long term, like you could do that, or you could have your own warehouse. Like that's probably like what I want to do is have like my own space or my own shop where I can like work out of, have like seamstresses and like designers and stuff like that. and then we could just ship it out from the same like place. But for me, for now, like how I manage it is I just sometimes like I said, I'll just get it out the way right away because I want the customer to have it, or I'll like let a few orders accumulate, like, and then I'll just send it out once a week or something like that because it works for me, and it yeah, it works. Like I find like customers now they're used to like because I still want my customers to have their product super fast.
Yeah.
Like so if someone emails me and they're like, "Hey, I got a birthday coming up for somebody. I want this product. Can you bring it, or can we meet up somewhere?" And like I'll do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or what was the thing I was trying to the thing that makes it easier. So my friend has a store actually in Halifax, but he just moved to Dartmouth. And so on the website, it has free pickup.
Okay.
So you can pick up at his store. So you put the order in, and then I just get the order ready and I drop it off at his shop. So then sometimes I'll get a few orders from there and I'll be able to drop it off at his shop. So it kind of makes it easier for me because he has his certain set hours. I don't need like me and him have like an agreement or like a partnership, but I don't have to have that big overhead of like owning a shop, being there all the time. And that's one of the things that I was talking about earlier is like if I opened up a shop, I'd need employees, I'd need inventory, I'd need all this different stuff that could bankrupt you and stuff that might not even attract customers. So if something works, continue it and figure out how you can make it work better. If it doesn't continue to work, try new things. And I find like the brick and mortar right now for us starting a business that's small, it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. The big guys are collapsing right now, so little guys are not going to
Yeah.
maintain all those bills, you know.
And we're not going to be like, oh, hey, support us because we're a small business and we're starting a brick and mortar. But it's like, instead of me taking 4 or 5 grand to spend on monthly expenses or even like monthly rent could be that much, you could take that money and put in social media marketing, take the time to learn social media marketing, and then at least if you don't get any sales, you get brand awareness and you get your brand out there. And I find that's one of the things for me is like my friends will send me screenshots of like some of the ads I've been doing, and they're like, "Hey, I was playing a game and it just popped up." And like me, I'm learning the ad stuff, so I don't really know that well about it. But it just, I might not even like I could spend 500 in ad spend a week and then not get like 500, like get like $100 in sales online. But then I'm just like, damn, am I wasting my money? But then you get the sale that you like. It's a hard way to explain, but it's like for me, it's like working on faith, and I'm just being honest right now. That sometimes I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to social media, but
Absolutely.
I pray and I hope that it pays off in the end.
Somewhere
But
down the line, yeah.
yeah, and if anyone watching right now can help me out with any social media stuff, let me know. Because I know there's like a few people that have like um they do like they're spending like tens of thousands of dollars on advertising and it works for them. Like they're able to make the money back. So for me, it's like, okay, experiment little, try to get it to work. Once it starts to work, and that, like that's one of the things like during COVID, like certain releases, I was seeing that I was bringing in more than I was spending. So it was like giving me like, hey, I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to get onto this.
You get
And like the last 2 months kind of been slow, but it's like I'm figuring it out. I'm taking my time to learn and like take courses and do whatever it takes to grow and build it.
yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit about your design process? Do you usually like sketch it out on paper first? Do you do it all on tech? And how do you go from like design to here's a product in my hand? Like, what's a little
Okay.
process for you?
So for me, like I've always been a drawer. Like I like to draw. Like I'm not too much into like the digital stuff, but I love to draw. I don't like to like draw like big huge art stuff, but I like to like sketch and like um here's like simple stuff. Like I'm a simpleton when it comes to like making designs, but like I have like a vision of how it will look when it's the final product. So what I'll do is I'll do some sketches and then I'll either do because I'm learning like I over the since I started I learned like Photoshop and a little bit of AI, and I have like two cousins, Shadow Donika Willis and Darrell Nelligan. So they help me a lot with. They're super good at that stuff. So I'll draw something out, send it, like take a picture, send it to them. They'll like they do it for a living, so like they'll charge me, but it's still what do you call it? They'll digitalize it. Then I could send it to the supplier, like either the one in Burnside or my suppliers overseas, and they'll make a sample. And then once, like for me, I gotta feel the sample. I gotta see, like, so I waste a lot of money getting samples, but for me, it's like I don't know if the product is perfect until I see the sample. So like once I get it in hand and like, cause sometimes like you'll see it in your head and you'll be like, it looks good in your head, but then when you see it on in the physical form, it's not good. So for me, it's like it's always design, digitalize, um, sample, and then I'll sometimes I'll be like, I know I got a good product. I know I'm just gonna get the bulk, but sometimes I'll like I'll let the customers see, like some of my good customers or some people I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? And then that kind of helps me decide like what goes in the collection, what doesn't, because like I'm realizing like, man, some designers make huge collections, and for me, um, I'm gonna do the slow and steady pace. So like once I get to the level where okay, I can hire some designers that can help me design certain things, or I can say, hey, this is how I like this, or you know what I mean? I want to kind of build Trev Clothing for like the long term. Like I want Trev Clothing to be here for like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I gotta find what is Trev, what is the style that I want, and that's one of the things where I just try to put in, like, keep it authentic. Like, what is Trev? You know what I mean? That's the question that I always ask myself. Like, what is Trev? What is specifically Trev? And I find as the evolution comes, there's certain things that I've noticed that that's like Trev specific, and like those are the things that I kind of want to get into. And like from studying like fashion designers over COVID was like you could get like a t-shirt, like this is a local brand,
Yeah.
uniform A. So I want to be able to create products that, like, you see how there's no logos, but
Yeah.
like for me, like if I seen someone else with this shirt on, I can recognize like this is from his brand. But so those are some of the things that I want to get into, is like creating product that you don't need to have the logo on it, but when someone looks at it, they know that's a Trev product, or that's a, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
those are some of the things that I've learned through fashion design in general, is like the motifs and like certain things that like make your brand or make your garments or make your products separate from others. And originality is like one of the key things that like I respect in anybody's industry, is because like I value originality a lot, because I find like there's some companies like they'll, what is it, what's an example, like you see the well you know like the Air Jordan 1s
Yes.
or the Nike Air Forces, like there's, or the Dunks, like a lot of iterations of those are coming out now from other companies because the patent ran up on it. So like it's not enforceable. So people can do whatever they want to and sell their own version of it. And I find like, to me, that's cool because you're putting your original spin on it. But like copying 100% to me is not like, it's not like respectable, I don't think.
Doesn't get-
But then there's, pardon?
And it doesn't get you anywhere, because then you're just a copy of someone else instead of yourself. When you're
Yeah, 100%.
people, people eat that up and they want more of that. And it helps you make your decisions better too. When you know who
Hmm.
you are, it's really easy to say yes and no to things.
And I find that's the reason why, like when you ask like what is Trev, or what is whoever is watching, like whatever your brand is, it's like when you can answer it concretely, then you're not confused, you're not all over the place, you're not up or down, like you know who you are, so you don't get confused when like your staff or whoever comes with these ideas is like, hey, we should do this, and it's like, for me it's easy for me to say no, I'm not doing that, because I'm not, you know what I mean? Certain things, like even there's been some things for me that like when, like I said before, like I'll share certain ideas with people, like I'll just share anything with people, but then there's sometimes when a few people like would take exactly what I said before I even had it to market,
Yeah.
and they put it to market, and then it's just like, well, I can't put it to market now because I'm not, even though it's my idea, I'm not coming out with perceived copying off of you.
Right.
And like that's one of the things for me, is like I share everything, but there's certain things that I won't share. Like if it's my ideas or my original design, I keep it to myself until I come to market with it, and then I can share it.
Then I can share. But when before it's out, wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah. So like, and those are some of the things where it's because like we get it. Like for me, even for me, like I give some of those people the benefit of the doubt because we get inspired by so many different things and we could forget where the ideas come from. Because I know for me, like when I'm collaborating or I'm working on a design, like there's stuff that gets forgotten about where I've got the inspiration and stuff like that. So for the benefit of the doubt for those, it's the process. And if you're not thinking like, okay, where did this come from, or where did this idea come from, or how, if you're not thinking about that, then it can get like the idea can get lost in the sauce, and you could be like, oh well, I'm not copying off anyone else because I came up with the idea,
Yeah.
even if you got it directly from someone else.
Yeah. What's the
So
best advice someone's ever given you? Or one piece of advice that you maybe even learned yourself that is kind of like the meat, like the best thing someone's ever told you?
um, what is the best thing that I've learned? One sec, I have a note. Um, one thing, because there's so many different things. It's hard to even like hit on the one thing. Like even when I look at my notes, I wrote a bunch of different things, but it's
I mean, you've given a lot of great advice today. And I'm just kind of thinking, like, if you were brand new and somebody was looking to you, like, I just want to start this company, tell me the first thing I should do. Maybe start with that.
see, I would always go to education. Like I would always go to like open up a book and learn and like have a plan. Like have like a super detailed plan of like what it is. So yeah, so that would be like define what it is you want,
Yeah.
because that's what's gonna allow you to get what you want. So like, and as over time goes, like say you set a goal and you set it super specifically, and I find like setting super specific goals is good. And then like once you reach it, or at least even when you're getting close to it, you allow the dream to evolve into something more. So like you keep raising the bar. I find that's one of the key things is just having a goal. Like this book right here,
Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich. This I read this like fresh out of high school, and this changed my life. Like just being able to like the principles and the the ideas and the concepts that they break down in this book have added so much value to me. And just having a plan, having a desire, like not giving up. Like even when it comes to like just surround yourself with people that believe in you. Like sometimes it's good to have the naysayers and the doubters, like I was saying earlier, but it's also good to like have those people in your corner that like when you're down and out, because like that's one thing. Like and that's another thing that is the thing. Like even when you hit rock bottom, it's not the end. Like it's not the end. There's so many times when I hit rock bottom, when I thought I was down and out, when I thought like, oh, like I'm never gonna be able to recover from this, that you recover. And it's like with the depression thing. So the number one thing I would say is like be proactive. Like proactive about like your health, your like depression. Like right now we're going into winter time, so like take your vitamin D, exercise, eat healthy. Like so these are all things that allow you to give energy to your craft, to what it is that you're trying to create. And I find just being proactive, not like like even when you're down and out, it's like the ebb and the flow. There's a thing where like when, for example, like if I'm not making any sales for like a week, I'm just like, oh, but you can't stay down in dumps. You got to stay studying, stay working, and stay building, so that when you do come back up from the like the ebb and the flow. So you gotta know when, like even when you're down, keep working and keep grinding, because there's times when you're gonna come back up. And if you working while you're down here, the waves will be bigger. Like the so
This is great. This is really great
so
information.
and like sometimes good. So like when like and it's like the ebb and the flow, but it's kind of like pedaling on the bike. Like sometimes we got to go up a big hill, and it's like you see like, oh, I don't know if I can make it, but then you get to the hill and you're like, oh, I'm at the top. Now you're coasting down. And I find what a lot of people might do is like when they get in a comfortable place, they just wee all the way down, but you have to pedal while you're even going down. Like sometimes it's okay, take a break and relax and enjoy yourself and like have fun, but the work is never done. The work is never finished. And that's why passion is so important, because even when it's 5 o'clock in the morning and you gotta sleep, but you gotta get stuff done. It's like, what are you gonna do? Sleep? Like, and you gotta be proactive because you have to prioritize sleep, because sleep is super important too.
Yeah.
So it's the balance. And I find so for me, like the key advice would be just being proactive about the balance and everything else,
That's
because
awesome.
everything adds value to everything else. So like eating healthy allows you to think clearly. Exercise allows you to think clearly. You know what I mean? Taking your vitamin D, surround yourself with positive people, like all that stuff adds so much value. And like getting proper sleep, all that type of stuff. I find that's one of the things like during COVID is like, let me be proactive. Let me continue to exercise. Let me continue to try to do everything that I was doing before. But it's it wasn't easy. Like it kind of gave you the make it or break it moments when you're super down and out. Like you got to kind of do what you got to do and be proactive to make it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's really great advice. How about on the other end of things, if they're just starting out, what's something that you would suggest that they absolutely avoid? Like, don't do that.
Um, don't just throw stuff at the wall and hope it'll stick.
Yeah.
Like find your you
Yeah.
and then like create that, but don't like that's one of the things like you can't like I've messed up a few times where I ordered too quick or I ordered a bunch of stuff and like now I got to sit on it for so long. It's like find out what works for you, find out what can sell and like cash flow. Like I feel like remember that like we're creatives, but we need to cash flow and we need to survive as well. So like for me, I work with DBDLI, the Buddy Delmore Day Learning Institute, and for me, like once I got that job, and before that, I did ceasefire. It's like a
Yeah.
initiative to like stop gun violence in communities. So like these are super fulfilling. Like that was a super fulfilling position. This is a super fulfilling position, and it allows me to stay connected to my community and also get like a job. So it's a job for me. And when you have like something that's on the side that allows you to pay for your like your normal like your rent and your bills, then it allows you to create so much more because you don't have the stress of like hey, I have to sell this. But there's sometimes for me where I'm just like, do I pay for rent or do I buy shirts? And I always bet on myself. So like, I don't recommend this for everybody, but it puts my back against the wall to where if I don't sell these shirts, then I gotta be homeless or I gotta go find some place to live. And then, so for me, it's don't put like put risk, but like, don't be reckless with the risk. Like for me, like I have an idea of like, okay, I know what I have to do to sell this. I know I can do this, and like I put it in gear. But don't be like, Trevor said, don't pay my rent and buy shirts, and then you get the shirts, and then you can't sell them. Like you got to kind of know that you can. You know what I mean? Yeah, disclaimers. Don't put that on me. But that's one of the things is like figure out like early on, like if you're first starting out, is like for me is like because I try to think back to like when I was first starting out and like when I was reaching out to certain people, it's like put yourself in those positions to like meet the people that can give you the advice. Like so for me, for example, East Coast Lifestyle, Alex McLean, good friend of mine, great mentor, gives me great advice. Um, the reason how I got to meet him was I went to a conference when he was speaking, and like great conference, like he was asking, he was saying like, does the crowd want to have any questions? My hand was up. My hand was up. So I was getting the information that I needed, and then like at the end of it, like when it was over, like I was leaving, and he was over there talking to like a big group of people, and I was like, oh, like he's too busy talking to other people. Like I'm gonna go. I'll catch him later. And then while I was on the escalator, I was like, man, I'm going back to talk to him. So I was like, I went and waited, and I talked to him some more, and then like we connected, and then like I'm glad like there's certain things where you think like, oh, this person doesn't want to give me advice or this person doesn't want to talk to me, but sometimes they're super busy. Like you can't just DM somebody and be like, hey, can you give me advice on this? They're
Right.
busy. Like they got stuff that they're doing because they're running their own business. So you gotta have like I appreciate people's busyness because I understand. And sometimes people will be like, oh, like this person didn't hit me back or whatever, but it's not on them to hit you back. It's on you to build your business, and it's on you to put yourself in positions where you can ask them questions. You can't just hit someone up on Messenger or email and expect them to be there for you. They don't work for you. They work for themselves. And that's one of the things where you got to kind of define what it is you want, because that's one thing that I find a lot of people might do is like they'll like, oh, I want to start a clothing company. What do you think I should do? And it's like, I can't answer that question for you. You have to answer that for you. Like what it is that you want. You know what I mean? What it is, like, do you want to just start a clothing company because it works for someone else that you see and you think it'll be a cool experience? But no, you have to know what it is you want. Like a fashion business, if you're passionate about fashion, what do you want to get out of it? Like where do you see yourself in the long term? Like certain stuff like that that you gotta kind of ask yourself early on. Like I can't come to you, Sydney, and be like, hey, like say I don't have a brand. I say, hey, what do you think I should do? Like, what design do you think I should do my logo? It's like there's certain things that you have to figure out on your own. No one else can help you with that, and that's one of the things that, like, no one can give you a business, no one can give you a brand, no one can create it for you unless like they're your parent and they're like, hey, I'm Trev Clothing, here, son, have Trev Clothing, and you know what I mean? There's things where we have to define it for ourselves, like what it is we want, and early on it's on us. And to me, I always come back to the education part, because when you don't know what to do, you learn, you educate yourself, and then it adds up. And then when you do learn that stuff, and when you go to somebody, and like when I go to Alex, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? He'll be able to see like I put in the effort. I'm not just being like, hey, like, can you tell me what I should do with my life, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I find those are some of the things that it's like being proactive and like being self-reliant and like taking the initiative, and like the responsibilities on us to build our companies. It's not on someone else.
Right.
And even when you think about like the answers that you can get from people, there's not that much fashion going on in Halifax, but there is people that you can reach out to and you can connect to. But I wouldn't say just talk to one person. It's like talk to everybody, get all the experts' opinions or get all the experts' advice, and while you're doing you too. So and I find like, because there's stuff that they can learn from you, and like there's, for example, there's stuff that I can learn from someone that's beginning, or and we could both learn from someone that's just starting out, and there's stuff that we can teach them too. But it's not on us to give them like the business, or like a business plan and stuff like that. We can help with it, but that's one thing that I look for. Like when people come to get mentorship or guidance, is like, you can't just come to me for me to give you all the designs and the logo and everything, you know what I mean? Like at least come to me with like, hey, I got these two logos, what do you think is better?
Right.
Or like, I got these two designs, like garments, like what do you think? What do you think I should introduce first? And then I can give like an opinion on that.
Yeah. And people don't realize too, a lot of us, a lot of people in the fashion industry are way more approachable than you would think. And we like to help each other for the most part. So
Hmm.
asking those questions is usually okay. And if I didn't answer you, and I'm sure it's the same for you, we either miss the email, like hit me back, like call me again,
Hmm.
message me.
100%. Like even for me, it's like with my social media, I got like my own personal stuff, I got the business stuff, and then I'm getting emails and texts and all this stuff. And like for me, like I was just like, damn, imagine like what people that are selling like so much stuff, like they're dealing with a lot of different things. And I'm just like, I can't keep up now. So how could I keep up later, you know? So it's like, but like, yeah, the yeah, that's.
So what's up next for Trev Clothing?
So for Trev Clothing, my plan is to like build the brand so it's sustainable in Nova Scotia, so like I can like live off of it. Like so if I didn't have a job on the side, would I be able to pay my bills with the brand? Like that's one of my like key goals. And then from Nova Scotia, like once I build it up in Nova Scotia, I'm not sure if I want to do a brick and mortar store.
Right.
I was looking before COVID, I was looking at Halifax Shopping Center, and they were giving me some great rates. And I was like, this was right before COVID. Like the day before they closed the mall, I had a meeting with the lady over there,
Oh,
and then they closed the mall. So it was like, can't do that now. And then um, so for me now, it's like, okay, build it up to be sustainable, try to pay down some debt, try to finish up my schooling. And then with moving forward to the future, I want to maybe have a brick and mortar location in Halifax. So it's like the hometown location, like Trev Clothing. But if that's not the case, I'll still look, home is always going to be home. But the next move for us, it would be Toronto.
yeah.
Toronto like is super big city, super multicultural. And the way that like Trev Clothing I find grows here with like the junior high, high school, and university people, and like even like parents and stuff, because what we represent is I feel like it'll catch fire like did here, and Toronto will be like a place where once here is sustainable, moving to Toronto. Like, and the reason why I don't want to just jump to Toronto is because I want to make sure here is sustainable first, so that and I'm not saying that it's not going to work in Toronto, but I just want to be able to have that foundation and have that built, because I find one of the things is people would tell me is like, oh, like you got to go harder, you got to get celebrities in your gear, you got to do all this stuff. But it's like, for me, that's not genuine. Like, I want, if a celebrity wants my stuff, they'll buy the stuff. If they, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain people that I have relationships with that I'll hook them up with clothes because they, you know what I mean? They're doing shows or stuff like that. But it's, to me, it's not, oh, let me get this big huge artist in my gear and then everyone else will want to buy it. It's like, no, I create a great product, make or make people want to buy it, then people buy it, and then the celebrities and those people that want it, they can buy it, and then that gives my brand more legitimacy, more realness, more of a foundation, so that I'm not just trying to piggyback off of other people's success. Like, I want to have my own success and then allow or attract, I should say, success. So
Yeah.
like people, you know what I mean? It's like, because I know for now, like if Kanye West or Travis Scott were to wear Trev clothing, it'll break my website, and then I can't even sustain the sales. So like, I'm not trying to marginalize or like give crappy quality clothes to people just to keep up sales. I want to be able to continue to provide like quality clothing, quality design, and just take my time with it. Like, some people think that's a bad idea, but for me, if it's a bad idea and it doesn't work out for me, at least it doesn't work out and it's on me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So like that's
And authentic to grow it like that. I totally.
mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, Trevor. This has been fantastic. Thank you to Trevor Silver of tREv Clothing. Can't wait to see what you're doing next. And
Thanks so much. So